recently, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi was interviewed by Lesley Stahl, and she was asked some questions about the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, and she had some thoughts that I think are worth sharing with you. Take a look.
So you are contending with a group in Congress. Over here on the left flank are these self-described socialists. On the right, these moderates. And you yourself said that you're the only one who can unify everybody. And the question is, can you?
By and large, whatever orientation they came to Congress with, they know that we have to hold the center, that we have to go down the mainstream.
They know that?
They do.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
It's like 5 people.
No, it's the progressive group. It's more than 5.
I'm a progressive, yeah.
Oof, there's so much to unpack there. Yeah. So we'll get to there's like 5 people comment in just a second. I wanna focus on the first part of the video where she talks about the importance of holding the center. Because we have a very different perspective, especially given what transpired during the 2016 election. I would argue that Hillary Clinton was very much attempting to hold the center, and it did not resonate with the American people. There were other things, other factors that made her unpopular among voters, but this notion of mainstream status quo politics really did rub people the wrong way because I think Americans were hungry for change. That's my perspective, but I want you guys to jump in and share yours.
I think you're right. I think there are a lot of different avenues down which you can go and get to victory in a general election. You could run on, and you probably should go down a bunch of them, right? You should, you can run on corruption. You can run against this administration, which I think is largely going to happen, and you can run on environment and polluting the environment instead of climate change. You could just characterize it as pollution and pay-to-play kind of pollution that's going on across America. So these are kind of general points. But to the point on the mainstream is moved by the progressive wing of the party. So the conversation has changed as a result of Bernie. The conversation has changed as a result of AOC. Those changes are the result of progressives moving the meter and changing what the mainstream is.
Right.
So I think married with a campaign against corruption and all the other couple of other things, I can go on and on. I mean, the administration's got, I think, a lot of vulnerabilities, but married with that, I think there is a path to victory.
I mean, there's a reason why AOC pulled off a stunning upset when it came to, how she primaried Crowley, who was very much one of these, moderate Democrats who believed in the status quo. And you might argue, well, I mean, that's just one district. Does it really say much? Well, who's one of the front runners right now? In some polls, the front runner is Bernie Sanders, and he is not interested in holding the center.
He's the front runner of people who are actually running for president right now. When you talk about Nancy Pelosi, it always comes back to she's a pragmatist. She really understands the necessities of what it takes to whip up votes and do things right in a way that delivers results. And that's not proven, especially with Crowley, because Crowley was her pragmatic approach to the next 20 years of the Democratic Party, and she failed.
Bingo.
And the reason that she failed is because she didn't, observe the pragmatic approach of making sure that their Congress people represent their congressional districts. I was watching CNN the other day, and it was one of the most frustrating, amazing out-of-body experiences I've ever had while watching I think it was CNN, maybe it was MSNBC, but one person on the show, when analyzing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez literally said this. They said, brace yourself. They said, it's like having an activist in Congress.
Wow, that is unacceptable.
Imagine if people in Congress represented people outside of Congress and was acting to advance their interests. Oh my God, this is a whole new day. No, it's her. She thought that was the pragmatic approach and it utterly failed.
Yeah, and by the way, a lot of people imagined what it would be like to have an activist in Congress. That's why they voted her into Congress. Someone who would actually take charge and push for change and represent people who haven't been represented, frankly, in Congress for a while now. I want to move on to the second part of
just
the statement.
really quick about holding the center. We're the center. We're the mainstream. I don't know what you want to define that by, but if you say Medicare for all, most people support that.
Yes.
You know, if you want to say, I mean, 56% of people just hearing the words Medicare for all, yeah, I'm for it. There was a poll, it's a Harvard poll that said if they say Medicare for all would guarantee health insurance as a right, 71% of people support that. So that's pretty mainstream to me.
Yeah.
So why don't you just listen to people who are in the mainstream by looking at polls and finding out what the answers are and then putting together your agenda for that? I don't know why you're trying to outthink yourself. It seems like the speed with which she was so quick to say, it's like 5 people. You all saw that. You all saw the weird eye darting when she's insecure about it.
There's a move along, get along quality too. I mean, in other words, there's a lumbering quality to politics and Capitol Hill. And so Pelosi sees the messaging that's being done by progressives as dangerous on some level. I think that's what you're seeing when you see her eyes dart around. She's thinking, hey, let's easy ixnay on the socialism thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it is dangerous, but only for those who want to maintain corporate sponsors, and corporate donors. It's dangerous for them.
The status quo.
And look, change is scary, and change is specifically scary for those who have enjoyed and exploited a corrupt system and will probably lose that system if the messaging from some of these freshman Democrats continues to pick up steam. And again, one of the biggest issues, and whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you should be grateful that this is catching steam, it is the fact that we want to get money out of politics. These freshman Democrats keep drawing attention to getting money out of politics. That is a virus that infects both parties. So while you might disagree policy-wise when it comes to Medicare for all or the Green New Deal or what have you, the heart of their messaging is something that would benefit everyone regardless of your political ideology. The only people who are pushing back against it are those who enjoy and exploit political corruption today. And yeah, the dismissive, there's like 5 people.
She's part of she's an institutional Democrat. She is part of the institution of Democrats are there. So yes, as Anna says, she's scared. She's invested in this system, but she's also scared that there's too much chatter on that from that wing. If you play them up too much, that they can knock the mainstream off course, and she believes the mainstream is the way to the White House.
Yeah, we have one more video, so let's take a quick look at that.
Well, Medicare for all. It's not only being pushed by some members of your caucus, but also some of the presidential candidates. Yeah. And it is allowing the president to say you're all socialists.
Do you know that when Medicare was done by the Congress at the time, under Lyndon Johnson, Ronald Reagan said Medicare will lead us to a socialist dictatorship. This is an ongoing theme of the Republicans. However, I do reject socialism as an economic system. If people have that view, that's their view. That is not the view of the Democratic Party.
So weird. So it's the failure of messaging.
Yeah, it is a failure of messaging. And more importantly, I think the conversation about socialism really lacks nuance. It lacks nuance in the media. It lacks nuance when our elected officials talk about it. Because the fact of the matter is, we have a mixed economy. And in that mixed economy, we have socialist programs that are tremendously popular. Right? Medicare is a socialist program, right?
Just stop saying socialist. I mean, I get it. There's people out there who are like, I'm a socialist, I'm a democratic socialist. Fine, do it, I don't care. But if I'm Nancy Pelosi, what I say is like, you guys are saying this over and over again, it's not us. What I'm saying is, I wanna make, right now there's 2 Americas, and there's an America for the rich, and they get rules, they get tax incentives, they get all these crazy subsidies for their big companies. Like you said earlier in the show, drug companies get their giant R&D paid for. You pay for it.
That's right.
They get to make the drugs, and guess who makes the money off it? Do you get it back? No. Can you even buy that drug at a reasonable rate? No, that's unfair. That's one America. The other America is people who are like, I'm sick, and I'm going to pay any price necessary to stay alive, or I won't have enough money to pay it and I'm going to die. So there are 2 Americas. You could talk about, what do you want? You want to be the elitist media and talk about like this political philosophy class? I don't have time for that. I only have time right now to say I am fighting for people who don't have health care. So I want a system in place that gives them health care.
I thought you were tired today.
I don't know what happens. I
fired
get
up.
grumpy when I'm tired.
I like it. We need to like deprive you of sleep more often because I'm loving your commentary.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.